Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk. I'm your host Rob, and this video we are going to continue the March to the King series, which is the 28-week Godzilla movie marathon, doing each Godzilla movie once a week leading up to the release of the new movie. And that week, as you well know, we'll be reviewing the original Gojira 1954, as well as Godzilla Raids Again. This week, we are doing Destroy All Monsters. Okay guys, welcome back. So, Destroy All Monsters. And, you know, what makes this movie is the monsters. Period. No debate. You get pretty much an all-star cast of some of the great monsters in the Godzilla universe. You know, you got Anguirus. You even got Kumanga in there in the end helping out. You got Son of Godzilla. Godosaurus, who you didn't see very much in a lot of the other films, but he has a pretty good primary role here. Manda, which is another monster you don't get to see a whole lot, but another primary role here. You even get to see briefly Baragon and Varan. I think that's how you pronounce his name. The one that kind of has this incredible leaping ability, and obviously Godzilla himself, King Ghidorah. I mean, you get a really awesome cast of monsters. Of course, Rodan. I can't forget to mention Rodan. And, you know, when they are the star of this movie. That's what makes it such a great movie. The story and the acting is borderline atrocious. I mean, I don't even... not the acting per se, because I think what happens is these movies... you know, they while there's a lot of cheesy goodness in them, you know, we also have to consider the time period they're made and things of that nature. So this movie, there are a lot of flaws in the movie outside of the monsters, but I think you come to expect that as the series goes forward. You know what I mean? Because I now that I'm in my almost 2 months of doing these reviews now, and you could see from the moment. Now, I didn't start with Gojira, and I didn't start with Godzilla Raids Again. I started with Godzilla vs. King Kong, and I've moved forward. And each movie, like Godzilla vs. Mothra, Monster Zero, so on and so forth, they just get a little bit worse and worse as you go. And I think that's because as the series went along at this point, they were aiming it more at kids. And I think that is why the effort is focused on the monsters having such character, having such many more dimensions. Godzilla obviously playing a hero as opposed to just a force of nature out to destroy. And but that doesn't necessarily make them bad. I mean, Destroy All Monsters, that ending fight scene is so epic. So the story goes like this. Basically, it's in the future. The human race has developed a way to not only keep the monsters from destroying them, but also keep them safe on an island where they can thrive, they can continue to be studied, and they can be kept safe. And it looks like a perfect situation. Humanity doesn't have to worry about being destroyed anymore. The monsters don't have to worry about finding a place in the world for themselves. Everybody's happy, and things are all good. So then you get this alien race called the Kilax, and they basically try to tell the humans that the world was never theirs to begin with. And they come on board, and they suddenly release this gas on the Monster Island, as well as in the underground facility that the scientists have to monitor the monsters. And before you know it, everybody that was on that island is basically under their control. The monsters get unleashed onto different parts of the world. So you see Manda attacking London, Godosaurus is attacking Paris, Rodan's going after Moscow, Godzilla going after New York, Mothra's over in Beijing, and it's just an all-out attack. And this was used as a divergence for the Kilax to set up a base in Mount Fuji in the movie, so they could essentially start their worldwide domination. And you get this space crew that's piloting, I think, what's called an SY-3, and they're tasked out to start going out there and trying to find out what these aliens want, what it is that they're trying to do, things of that nature. Some of the people get caught under their control, and look, this is just a story. In between all that, there's just some funky scenes. One scene I remembered watching that I just thought was ridiculous. They were interrogating one of the scientists. It was the only scientist they captured, and they're trying to get information out of him. The scientist is completely silent, obviously in complete control under the Kilax. And so after a while, the two men give up, and they go to get a drink and kind of talk amongst themselves as to what they're going to do. Meanwhile, the guy is on the couch. He's not cuffed. He's not restrained. He gets up. They look at him getting up. He starts to slowly walk to the window. They're still looking at him. He gets to the window. He opens it. They're still looking at him. And then he jumps out. And that's when they decide to react. And it's so funny because when he jumps out the window, they show him falling. And it's clearly a dummy. You hear this crazy scream. It was kind of funny. It was actually pretty hilarious. And so that's just an example of some of the corny stuff in the movie. And again, you're not going to escape that stuff. That's just the nature of the beast for these movies. But in some ways, those are the things that also make them kind of fun. Because while you enjoy the monsters and the fighting, you kind of enjoy the goofiness of some of these, some of these scenes. So, anyway, so to get back to the story, basically, the science crew they have a base station on the moon. The astronauts who are pretty consistently going out there and trying to fight the aliens, trying to do, intelligence, trying to discover their bases, their motives, things of that nature, basically doing recon. And they finally figure out that the aliens are controlling the monsters from an underground station on the moon. So while the monsters are now all converging on Japan, they start attacking different sectors. The SY-3 crew is off to the moon to stop the Kilax base. So while they're doing that, you see Godzilla and a bunch of other monsters just wrecking Japan left and right. Army's no match for them. And at the end of after all said and done, the astronauts are able to completely destroy the underground facility on the moon, and the human race or the United Nations get control back of the monsters. By then, though, it's kind of too late because Japan is in complete ruins. They actually show a pretty cool scene of Japan after the monster attack, and it's wrecked. And it was a pretty good shot, with pretty good special effects for that particular scene. So now that they have control of the monsters, they have a pretty solid idea of where the base is. They send all the monsters out to go after the base. And at this point, the Kilax pull what they think is their trump card, which is King Ghidorah. Now, I'm going to say this. King Ghidorah, obviously, is one of my favorite villains in the Godzilla universe. And while he can be a handful for 2 or 3 monsters, on Godzilla's good day, he can one-on-one Ghidorah. We've seen it. So, I think it was a bit much to put Ghidorah against all those monsters. Now, the cool thing is in this scene, you see Godzilla, Godosaurus, Mothra, Kumanga, Anguirus, Little Minya, and they show Baragon and they show Varan, but those two don't get involved in the fight. Manda's not involved in the fight. It's pretty much Anguirus, Godosaurus, Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, Kumanga, and Son of Godzilla. And, obviously you see a little bit of footage that you've seen in other movies, like Anguirus grabbing Ghidorah by the neck. Obviously, it was originally filmed in this movie, but that stock footage is used, I believe, in Godzilla vs. Gigan. And it's an epic fight. I mean, even the build up, seeing all those monsters lined up and ready to go, and then seeing Ghidorah come and fly, and he kind of circles them, trying to pick his spot. And Ghidorah very arrogantly just lands right in the middle of them. Godzilla to his back, no respect. He just lands right there, like, all right, here I am, bring it. And he pretty much starts whooping their asses pretty well in the very early parts of the fight. But after a while, I mean, so many monsters is overwhelming. I mean, it's one thing for Ghidorah to handle Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra like he did in Three-Headed Monster, but then to add in Godosaurus, and then add in Kumanga, and then add in even little Minya is in there throwing his little donuts. It's a little bit much, and after a while, they rip into Ghidorah pretty hard. I mean, there's this one scene where Godzilla's just stomping on Ghidorah's neck. He picks up Ghidorah's face, looks at it, shakes it, and then realizes it's dead, and he just throws it down on the ground. It's so awesome. So, overall, Destroy All Monsters is if you want to see all the monsters in the Godzilla universe, or at least most of them, this is a great movie to watch. My only complaint is I would have liked to have seen more monster action. There's some parts of the movie that are just a little bit slow because it's a little bit too much human. And plus, when you take into consideration that the story it's so-so, and some of the scenes are just ridiculous. I mean, more scenes with gunfights that are just have no way of... This doesn't make sense. There's one scene where they're having a gunfight with the captured scientist, and one guy shoots and he hits the guy in the chest, but the guy was behind the guy was in cover, like his whole chest was covered. You just see him shoot the gun, and then the guy goes, oh, he gets up and you see a chest shot right here, but the whole area was covered by like a computer or a desk or something. Then you see one guy shot in the head, and it's not even a bullet hole, it's just little blood spots. Then there's a gun scene on the beach where the aliens and the scientists are shooting at each other. Neither one of the groups have cover, and nobody's hitting each other. So, just a lot of little stuff like that. But again, it's all about the monsters in this movie. It's one of my favorites because I like to see all the monsters in action. The end fight scene was epic, but Ghidorah never really stood a chance overall. It's a little bit too much. It would have been cool if they threw in some more alien monsters. Like, if it had been Ghidorah, Gigan, and like Megalon versus all those monsters, and they threw Varan and Baragon into the mix, getting involved in the fight as well, man, that would have been a battle royal of epic proportions, in my opinion. But anyway, so that's my review of Destroy All Monsters. Definitely one of the better Godzilla movies. If you like to see what the Godzilla universe roster is like, and it's definitely a classic. So that's it for this video review. We are going to continue our March to the King marathon next week. We will be doing Godzilla's Revenge, and that should be interesting. And obviously, we're going to continue doing these all the way up until the release of that new Godzilla movie. So take it easy, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next video.